Welcome to this show.
When you were made MD of the NDDC, there was a little storm with the former chairman, and now you have a new chairman. How is it now navigating with the new board?
Well, normally when people come together to work together, people come from different backgrounds, different orientations. So the only thing you have to put together is tolerance to tolerate each other. I think we are still getting to know each other in the last board. Whether you call it storm or not, for me, I don't see it as storm. I see it as people trying to get to know each other until the board was dissolved. I believe if maybe that board was given a chance, probably would have been able to fuse together to also work together for the development of the Niger Delta.
Well, we just finished the NDDC retreat with quite very prominent people who were in attendance, including the past MDs, past chairman, and all of that. How did you amass all of these people together under one roof?
Well, it's something of long-term plan.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately after our inauguration in November, we started planning towards this retreat, and we conceived this idea of the rewind to rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
And rewinding to rebirth, we actually needed to bring together the former MDs and former chairmen, because whether you like it or not, they've been on the saddle for at their own time too. They must have made mistakes. They must have also made some successes. So we also need to learn from them. So we now know how to pilot the activities of the NDDC, not just coming in with fresh ideas. It's possible that some of the ideas we want to come up with, they must have also explored some of those ideas which also failed them. But we felt, let us not just guess. As we are not guessing, let us bring them together in these retreats. Let us rub minds together as people in the Niger Delta. They are also stakeholders. So we invited other stakeholders, from former ministers, that also like Weke, who was the first minister to supervise NDDC. At least let him also come and give us his own experience too, and also give direction. So I think with all those persons that were invited, whatever you saw was something that was clearly planned to achieve this result. So I want to thank all of them for coming around, this honoring our invitation for coming. I believe that is also service, meaning they are still committed to the service of the people of the Niger Delta. So basically, it was something that we planned to come out this way.
In your speech, you made a very interesting remark, which is, in a sense, an indictment of governments in the Niger Delta area. You said that the inner reaches of the rural areas, very far reaches where some people call ungoverned spaces, that sometimes only NDDC projects that are there. Do you get would you get as NDD chairman, MD, to work with some of these governors to collaborate with you in some of those areas that tend to suffer a lot of neglect?
Well, the truth is that it was not an indictment on any government. Governance is all about complementary. Whatever we did was to complement state governments too. State governments are also trying in their own part too. Every state government that you see has this pressure of developing the state capital. That's why most state governments, you find out that their presence is more in the state capitals. Now, when NDDC was formed, the agitation then was not to build roads and bridges in the state capitals. The agitation was from people from the rural communities. They lacked road, they lacked lights. Some communities were being washed away by erosion. They lacked jetties. So the basic things which they lacked were the things the people were agitating for, not for cities like state capitals that have been developed already. So when NDDC came, that was the needs assessment as at then. So NDDC had to focus in those rural communities in order to take development to those rural communities to meet the immediate needs of the people by providing water, building schools, building hospitals, even building jetties to protect most of our communities who have been washed off by erosions. All these things are there, you can verify them. So I think NDDC was rather complementing what the state governments were doing. NDDC was not in competition with any state. NDDC is government, state governments, they are also government. But the mistake is this, you see, when NDDC was formed due to agitation, there was no Niger Delta master plan. A master plan would have been able to show areas where NDDC would have also intervened and areas where state governments would have also intervened. Now, NDDC started developing its master plan after it was established, which also took the first governing board of the NDDC. They couldn't finish it. It entered the second governing board, who was able to finish the master plan. As at then, NDDC has already embarked on a lot of projects. So now embarking on some of those projects, some of them were not also aligning with probably the vision of the state governors. So it now brought about conflict. But I think now that that master plan has expired, we are working towards, developing another regional plan. And that regional plan will ensure that the state governments, local government, every stakeholder is being carried along to ensure that we have a common regional master plan that will also show areas that we need to intervene, areas where we need to collaborate, we'll collaborate. Right now, what I'm doing, projects that NDDC started, that NDDC is here to finish, we're also approaching state governments to partner with them to see how we can complete them together. Because NDDC does not have its own geographical location. It is the jurisdiction belongs to the state government.
Like federal government.
Yes, so any project that is being carried out will be to the benefit of the states. So we're trying to also discuss with state government to see how we can partner together to finish some of these projects. Everything is all about collaboration. What is your vision for your state as a governor? Your vision is to ensure that you bring about development to your people. And if an agency of government comes to partner with you to bring development to your people, I see no reason why you shouldn't accept it. Because partnership today also reduces the cost on our side and also reduces the cost on your side. That was when I came in, we initiated our PPP agenda in order to partner with both government and private sector. So right now, we are looking at areas where we can partner with state governments, even private sectors too want to partner with them in a bit of bringing development to the people of Niger Delta. NDDC is a platform that is supposed to drive development in the Niger Delta. So we just want to remain as that platform. So no matter who we collaborate with, the most important thing is the development. The end justifies the means. We're not bringing ego to it. If anybody wants to claim the project, it's not our business. The most important thing is that we've been able to fulfill that mandate of bringing development to the Niger Delta.
Now, there is this point which you made in your speech, listing about over 7,000 projects that NDDC has started over the years and so on.
That's completed.
Completed. And yet, the narrative out there is that NDDC is just there to collect money. There seems to be a disjunction between performance and perception. How are you going to tackle it this time? Because is it also because those who are criticizing NDDC don't go to the rural areas, they are city people?
Well, you see, sometimes it's very, very funny when you see some persons, you sit down in some forums and you see people who criticize NDDC. Some people that criticize it, some of them are even former NDDC contractors. Some of them are people that have even benefited from NDDC. But just like as I told you, when NDDC started, the master plan was not there. NDDC started on a platform where, the people were poor, the people lacked development, and NDDC came up with this perception of not making the people become spectators to development. It's not as if maybe the first governing board of NDDC wouldn't have decided to engage Julius Berger to carry out all its projects. But they decided to give some of these projects to people indigenous of the region. The whole idea is the people participating in the developmental process. some of these persons failed the whole idea of, including them in participating in the developmental process. Hence, we have some jobs were substandard and the rest of them. We take all those responsibility because when something starts, there is a tendency of abuse because a lot of persons actually never understands the concept. And sometimes this mentality and this mentality of entitlement, as if maybe this is our own, so nothing happens. So a lot of things were taken for granted, like every other organization. Even nations make mistakes, and people learn. Till today, Nigeria as a state is even still making mistakes, and we are still learning today. So as much as even Nigeria as a nation is still making mistakes, learning, government, after the next government comes, they want to correct the mistakes of the previous administration. So NDDC is not different. So for me, coming into NDDC, I always tell people the president did not appoint me to come and complain about the past. The president appointed me to come and fix the problems. So all what we are doing is solution. Forget about the complaint. What is the solution? So anybody engaged with, I want to look at solutions. There are mistakes that have been made. Basic mistakes that have been made. Yes, we'll accept that. But going forward, let us not continue in those mistakes. That is progress.
What of the forensics that have been done? How does that affect your performance, your moving forward?
Well, I think forensic audit was done. As part of the forensic audit reports, I knew that even before our resumption, the forensic audit report actually recommended cancellation of some projects, which all those projects have been cancelled by the NDDC. So I think part of it has been implemented, but the white paper has not been given to us, but I know part of it was implemented. And so, but the most important thing is, yes, anytime it comes, we'll also look into it. But the most important is, what are the policies we want to put out there to ensure sustainability? One of the major things we have discovered that was the major problem of NDDC was the lack of corporate governance system. So as part of fixing the problems, we have engaged KPMG to design a corporate governance system for NDDC. By designing a corporate governance system for NDDC, that now enables us to be internally regulated. It creates a structure and a system for us that even people coming from outside will understand that, this thing is not possible in NDDC. It does not become a place where anybody thinks that anything goes. So these are the kind of structures we are putting in place. Once that is in place, it's a foundation. Now, on top of that foundation, because I talked about the triple T's yesterday,
Yes.
which is transiting transaction to transformation. So now, if we were seen to be transactional does not mean maybe people were sharing money. Transactional in the sense that, I have this idea. Let me help the people of the Niger Delta. I want to do youth empowerment. The question is, on what basis were you doing youth empowerment? What platform were you using? How was the structure? Was it a sustainable structure? The answer is no. But people were helped. People were empowered. NDDC did trainings. So those trainings were not done on any solid structure that you say this is sustainable. So many youths have been trained, but today you cannot find them. You don't have a data of those youths. So somebody can easily say, you ate the whole of this money. So we consider that transactional. Now, you come to the aspect of transaction. You give out contracts and let us give to this company because this man is from Niger Delta. If he does the job, he's also going to make money. You are having this sympathy feeling, but you are also trying to achieve something. You want to achieve results. So we consider all that natural. But now doing things more sustainable, that will be transformational, is now putting the right structure. Putting the right structure, first the foundation, bringing in KPMG to design a corporate governance structure. After that, we now have the Project Hope. The Project Hope is to gather database for youths in the Niger Delta, and through the Project Hope, it's also going to meet youths in areas of their competence. Because while you put in your data, you also put in areas where you're competent, things you want to do, skills you have. So you sit down in your house, NDDC want to train youths, we go through the data and pick those who are qualified in those areas we want to train. Sustainable. That means if we say we've trained 100 youths, you see it in the data. If we train 1 million youths, you see it in the database. We will not just come and tell the world we've trained 50,000 youths since the inception of NDDC. What is this man talking about? Where are the data? So all that we consider transactional. But now we want to do things sustainably. Oh, how many entrepreneurs have we trained? We now have the Niger Delta Chamber of Commerce. The Niger Delta Chamber of Commerce will now be the platform that will now bring together all entrepreneurs in the region that are willing. So if we want to support entrepreneurs, we support through the Chamber of Commerce, who will verify their businesses and not just giving opportunities to people who do not have any verified means of business. So now those are the transformation, meaning any opportunity that is given to anybody, the person is going to utilize it. The person himself, yes, accountability. So we are trying to ensure transparency and accountability. From the database, you see transparently, these are the number of persons that have been trained. From the database, even our scholarship scheme, before now there was no database. So if we say we've trained this, you cannot go to our database to see how many persons that have been trained, that have been sent abroad for scholarship. But with this, we are trying to ensure that, yes, if we say we've trained, you go to the data, you see their names, you can verify, you know where they come from. So that is what we mean by transactional. Now, we are no more going to be transactional. We are transiting transaction to transformation. That is how we came about the Triple T. We want to do in terms of trying to transform the NDDC. The approaches we are putting together, bringing in KPMG to put the corporate governance structure. Well, it was required because we wanted to transit from transaction to sustainability and transformation. Now we introduce PPP. You want to go into partnership with international organizations, donor agencies. You want to bring them in. They also want to see your corporate governance system. They want to know if you're compliant. So with this, we have no choice than to be, so that we can also compete with international organizations. Let them see us the way they see other international organizations, because they want to know if you're transparent, they want to know if you're accountable. So that is why even in engaging most of them, we're engaging most of them for partnership, not for partnership to bring money, but partnership in terms of technical support, so that they can also train some of our staff in the area of financial accountability and transparency. Once you have such partnership with such international organizations, it brings also credibility to the institution. That means you're also opening yourself to international scrutiny. So these are the things we are doing, because we have to do all this for the people of the Niger Delta. Because once we looked at the fund, when we looked at the funding of NDDC, we realize that it is not only our statutory allocation and the contribution from the IOCs that can also develop the entire Niger Delta. There are international agencies, international body, EU, World Bank. There are organizations such as NDDC that benefit from all these agencies. Why don't we benefit? We are not benefiting because we are not seen to be compliant. And for us to be compliant, we need to put the right building blocks. Yeah. So we are putting those structures together so that we can also access extra partnership of funds that will also take up certain aspects of development in the Niger Delta.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's also this issue that came up in the retreat, the issue of pressure from politics. How do you handle that? Because there was one story of somebody who said, I'm from Niger Delta, we have oil, and I'm supposed to be living like the Arab sheikhs. So nobody should stop us from enjoying the oil money like Arab sheikhs. But the person replied and said, but even the Arabs take care of their people. So how do you deal with that kind of pressure? Because was it Ensure who said that maybe 20% should be devoted to political pressure and so on. I don't think you buy that.
Well, I don't buy into the issue of devoting money to political pressure. Like I've always postulated, Political pressure will only come when monies are seen to be astray, when money is floating. Everybody will not look at you to your account and say, you are getting this every month. How are you spending it? Interest will come in. But it is left for us to put the right structures together. By we putting our corporate governance structures together, even you, if even you're a politician, you now know that this place, I think this is their standard. Because we're definitely going to have our own SOPs, our own standard operational procedures. And when you see our SOPs, you cannot request for frivolity. You now know that this is a standard of NDDC. So let us put in those SOPs first and see if the political pressure will break our SOPs.
Now that brings me to the very naughty issue that you raised, the issue that you're suggesting that the NDDC should be removed from TSA. Explain why you want that to happen.
Well, you see, the truth is that NDDC is a special interventionist agency. NDDC does not just get its funding only from the federal government. The federal government aspect of NDDC, in fact, the federal government is a partner. The partnership of the federal government is the contribution of the 15% of the statutory allocation of the 9 states. Now you have the IOCs also contributing to fund the NDDC. You have the ecological fund that comes in to fund the NDDC. IOCs on one hand, federal government contribution on one hand. Now you say we should be under TSA to be regulated. Now you want us to radically develop the Niger Delta. I always ask people, if they say you should build your house with salary and probably your office benefits, I know for our fathers that it took them the entire of their civil service career to build a house.
I know somebody who was buying granite. That's why he was eating for lunch every day, because he was building a house.
Yes. So now, if that is the case, you say we are getting X amount as federal government statutory allocation every month. You're expecting us to build projects that are what? 100 billion, 200 billion. Today, things are very, very expensive. If you want to do probably a 5-kilometer road or even 10-kilometer road, you'll be talking about maybe 10 billion or 15 billion, as the case may be. There are some bridges you want to do, like some of our projects that we want to start that have been stalled. A project that was awarded for 12.5 billion, today the variation is at 40 billion. So now if you have projects worth 40 billion in each of the 9 states, you aggregate it, you say, okay, I want to do for every state 40 billion, this project, that is the only thing I want to do for this year. 40 billion times 9 comes up to how much? And now, let's say you have about 28 billion naira every month. How do you spread it, sir? After taking out your recurrent expenditure and other services you service. So how do you spread it? And the society expects you to do magic. They want to see the developments immediately. That makes you very, very rigid. That rigid condition. So when we assumed office, we had to diagnose the condition of NDDC. And the result of the diagnosis shows that pre-TSA, NDDC did better than when NDDC became part of TSA. Because under pre-TSA, NDDC had the flexibility of accessing funds from bank, mortgaging the statutory allocation and the contributions from IOCs, tie them to specific projects. NDDC was able to even do that, to even tie it to some partnership. That is why today you see the Ogbeanembe Road, that was a partnership between SPDC and NDDC. It is completed. a 27-kilometer road with 9 bridges on the swamp completed. So NDDC had the freedom to do a lot of things.
Flexibility and
the flexibility was there
Mm.
because they could approach financial institutions. Financial institutions were willing to partner with them to do things because they know that, yes, their income was independent.
Mm.
By law, these incomes are independent, so it is not even not negotiable. So the financial institutions are willing to partner, but under TSA, you cannot partner with them. You just have to wait for this money to come. Then you pay.
So that is some of the considerations.
So now the IOC's fund, somebody will ask, why don't you manage them in trickles? But the IOCs too, they pay their funds quarterly. Maybe at the end of the year, if you don't touch it at all, you can get the full bulk. But if you wait even half of the year, our concern is this. As much as we need development in the region, this is the largest wetland in Nigeria. We have just about 5 months of dry season
to
work. January to February is dry season. The rain starts from March until October. So if you don't have the flexibility of partnering with financial institutions to carry out these heavy projects that will be funded, yes, that will be cash backed, then you can now have your timeline to say this project, we are starting it, we are doing it for 4 years. This project, our board is going to do it for only 2 years. Because it is also very, very crazy for every government that has 4 years term to start looking at how to carry out projects for 10 years. I believe in looking at projects that you can start and finish. The ones that are going to be for 10 years, you know that, yes, funds have already been committed in advance. So nobody comes to abandon it and continue new ones, because by abandoning old projects, starting new ones is tantamount to wastage of government funds. So I think basically what we are saying is this, that flexibility, so that it will also give us access to negotiate on how we can expend these funds. Nobody is going to steal any money, because for you to even meet any financial institution to say you want funds for projects, there's always a precondition of what do you want to use it for. And they're always tied to specific projects. Your budget is being looked into. This project we want to carry out in the 9 states are in our budget. And that is what you're tied for. So if you veer outside of that, it becomes criminal. So it is not as if anybody wants to go to jail. So the records will be there. There will be transparency.
So what do you want to do? Like, do you want to write to the president, or do you want to mount pressures? How do you want to go about it?
We're not mounting pressure. We are government. We cannot just be mounting pressure. How do you want to mount
you have
pressure?
to lobby. That's what I mean.
Yeah, in our last board meeting on the 8th, our board meeting on the 8th, yes, we resolved that we are also going to appeal to the conscience of the authorities to look at our situation. Because we know the president is determined to ensure that he changes the fortune of the Niger Delta. The president is very, very much concerned. In fact, the president is very, very angry at the level of underdevelopment in the Niger Delta. But we are making commitments to say we want to change this narrative. But in changing this narrative, give us this opportunity. I will not fail you. If we fail, then hold us responsible. We are all in Nigeria, because we are also members of the same party with Mr. President. We also want our party to win election in the next 4 years. So we should have something to show for a reason why we have to tell the people to vote for APC. So we are also very, very much concerned. If APC is not in power, I will not be MD. So why will I want to jeopardize my future? So I am also very, very eager as Mr. President to ensure that we deliver to the people of the Niger Delta, so that after 4 years, we can come back to the people of the Niger Delta to say, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu did A, B, C, D in the Niger Delta. These are the results. If you want to beat it, come and challenge it. And I can assure you that if Mr. President gives us this opportunity, He'll be very, very proud of this board because everybody in this board is very, very committed and determined to ensure that we make a difference. Because there have been so much talk of the failure of NDDC. We are humans, so we feel it. And because we feel it, we want to change the narrative. We are hungry for that. So I think that is it.
Thank you very much for giving us your time. I wish you the best of luck.